shit, a Maybach. Got a Maybach out here. Wow, Maybach and a Urus. Holy shit. Look at this guy. That's nice. I think that's a woman driving that shit, too. Got the Maybach. That's the first one of the Ioniq 9s that I've seen on the road. I've seen a couple of them when I was at the New York International Auto Show. There's a Hyundai dealer not far away, so I guess they're trying to give test drives, give people a chance to see it. From what I remember, I think this car is about 80,000, if I'm not mistaken. It's not necessarily ugly. It's just that Hyundai and Kia have such radical styling. It's with the LED digital lights and stuff like that. I have to say, a lot of people who are coming out of Tesla Model X's because they refuse to support racist Elon Musk, this is, a nice option because it's about the same size as a Model X, give or take some, cargo volume. But it's everybody's got their EV plans. So everybody's making a 3-row and a 2-row. That's the plan. It doesn't look bad. It's just the styling is just so radical, I think it would probably look better in probably a silver or a dark color, like a black or a white maybe. Either black, white, or silver maybe. Yeah, interesting. It's the Ioniq 9. Looks like it's also starting to rain soon. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Those things have no real staying power, but they are quirky. And this is really, 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 really interesting. So I'm right here pulling up. I'm number 1 right here, about to get the charge right here. So there's one person in my favorite spot. She's got the Honda. And then there's this guy right here. He's got this Dodge Charger electric vehicle right there. And then what is this? They got this Audi here, and they got this BZ4X. So she just got there, so it'll be one of these 3 people who leaves next. So it'll be one of those 3. But what I was thinking was really interesting is this Dodge Charger electric vehicle. And it's funny because now on YouTube, this Dodge Charger electric vehicle is causing so much, how should I say, turmoil. You got YouTubers arguing with each other and fighting each other. In fact, is that I don't know if that's the stage 1 or the stage 2. And I'd like to get a little bit, I want to just see, I don't see a badge. I don't see a stage badge. So the person literally debadged it, I guess, unless, because as far as I know, those things come with a badge. Because he has the nicer wheels from what it looks like. So, but anyway, you got these YouTubers fighting each other and arguing with each other. Now, what's funny is, when I made my pivot from Chrysler Mopar products, and I said, no, fuck that, I'm not giving Stellantis another dime of my money. And I decided to go and buy a Cadillac instead, because I basically had it in my mind, I either wanted a Cadillac or I wanted a Mercedes. I'm not a BMW fan. The iX I really didn't like. The i7 I kind of like, but I really didn't like it enough to buy one. So I was like, oh, either I'm going to Mercedes or I'm going to Cadillac. And the reasoning for that was because if I'm going to pay $80,000 for a car, or $90,000 for a car, or even $100,000 for a car, when I go to that dealership, I don't want to hear any shit at all. That's just how I am. I don't want to hear any bullshit. All I want is I give you my papers, I hand you the car. If it needs fixing or something, you take it, you fix it. You give me a loaner car, and that's it. I don't want to hear any bullshit. Now, I've made videos and I wasn't as, how should I say, I wasn't as harsh and vicious as I should have been behind my Jeep SRT. And the reason why is because with YouTube, you really don't want to say things where somebody might see the video and then hear you talking about a specific dealership or something like that. And then it gets back to them, and then I didn't want to take it that route. Like, I didn't want to say anything like, harsh or vicious and everything. And ultimately, that's one of the things about like watching YouTubers who talk about these vehicles and these cars. They're never going to tell you the whole truth, ever. Like, if they're having a big problem and they're angry or something, yeah, that's when they'll tell you the truth. But they're never going to tell you 100% of the truth, because there's a lot of things that they don't want anybody to know. They like, some of these YouTubers have talked so bad about these dealerships and how they've priced up these vehicles until some of these dealerships have flat out doxed some of the YouTubers. So, and I'm not going to name names, but you pretty much know exactly what I'm talking about. And the dealers, as far as they're concerned, they're looking out their window from their dealership floor, and they're like, why is this fucking guy skulking around my parking lot where I park my cars that I'm trying to sell? And this fucking guy is out there telling everybody that we're marking up the prices and we're charging markups and premiums and we're charging for stickers and putting nitrogen in the tires and all that. It's like the dealers, they're having a hard enough time as it is. They don't want to hear that shit. Like, they don't want to see YouTubers talking shit about the product. I totally understand that. But the reality is, with this car right here, Carlos Tavares has dug such a deep hole for Mopar, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. They've done such a deep hole. I don't think that Chrysler and Dodge, I don't think they're going to be able to survive this. Now, I've heard that with this Scat Pack EV and with this Charger EV, I've heard that they have mules on the streets and they're testing the car and everything, and they're driving them and testing them, and they've got some Hemi motors in some of these cars. I've heard they've got the Hurricane in some of those cars, and I've heard that they've got these mules out there and they're testing them, right? Here's the problem, though. First of all, it's a huge difference in pricing and affordability from 2016 when I bought my Hellcat Charger till 2025 right now. Insurance, right? Like, the insurance prices, the rates, the premiums, they've all gone up. Gas prices. Gas prices have fluctuated. They don't stay up. Now that you have a lot more people switching to electric vehicle, I think it's starting to get gas prices to actually come down a little bit depending upon where you are. But the reality is, gas prices in many parts have gone up. And then there's, on top of that, there's the interest rates. And that's the deal killer, because with these interest rates, when I got my car was like a 3% interest rate. I think the highest percent interest rate I ever paid for one of these cars might have been like on the first car I bought, which I had really bad credit at that time. That was back in like 2008. Well, back then, I paid like a 27% interest, and I actually ended up using that car to fix my credit and bring my credit up to 850, towards 850 where it is right now. But I think the highest credit, or the highest the highest interest rate I ever paid on one of these cars was probably my Chrysler 300. And they gave me that on a 7% because they were trying to screw me, because I had traded in a 2006 SRT8 and I wanted the 2012 because it was brand new. So what they did was they tried to charge me a really high interest rate. So what I did was I drove that car right from the dealer to my credit union, and I started the refinance process immediately, and I dropped my refinance down to I think it was like 3.8 or 3.7 or something like that. But long story short, even at a 7%, these cars now, the interest rate is so much higher. And if they bring back the V8s, unlike this Charger EV where they have aggressive lease specials, they have aggressive financing specials, if they bring back, like, say, this car and they put a Hellcat in its body and everything, they're still going to charge top dollar for that shit. They're not going to, what, do you think they're going to stop marking cars up? Right now, those dealerships, okay, it looks like this guy is leaving. All right. So right now, those dealerships have Hornets that they can't sell. And then they got Charger electric vehicles that they can't sell. So Dodge has two products that they can't sell. They have the Durango, the Dodge Durango, and I forget what else Dodge makes. I think that's like it. And for two of your products that should have been star products, that you suddenly can't sell these things, that's not good. And then there's Chrysler, and Chrysler has nothing except minivans. And minivans, yeah, they sell, but I don't think the profit margin's that high on them. From what I've heard, the profit margin is higher on trucks, from what I've heard. But here you got two products that aren't moving, and you're forced to basically give these things away to the point where you had to cancel the entire fucking model, and that's not good. Having to cancel an entire model that was brand new. Now, what was it? That guy Kuniskis, he stood up there. Oh yeah, electrification is the future, and if Dodge doesn't go with the future, we're gonna get phased out. We're gonna get obsoleted and phased out if we don't go with the future. Oh, this is a RT Stage 1, and he's in there asleep. Okay, I guess he can learn about, he's at RT Stage 1. I thought it was a Stage 2 at first, but I didn't see the brakes. If I'd seen the brakes and them Brimbos, I would have known. So, they've got two products that, for the most part, they can't sell. That's not good at all. And, let's see. So you got two products you can't sell. And, you have to wait for them to try to figure out how to put together a product that people actually say, yeah, we're going to buy this. And everybody's already, they're talking down about your product, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to buy this. That's not good. That's not good at all, But, I think she's in there asleep too. Yeah, but, it's accepting. Yeah, but, and see, here's the thing. I like the design of that body, but I just, first of all, that thing is a coupe. It's literally the size of a Mercedes S-Class in length. Like, if you remember the Mercedes S-Class coupe that they made where they dropped the 2 doors, they made the 4 doors. It used to be the CL, and then they started calling it a Mercedes S-Class coupe. That car is gigantic. His car weighs the exact same thing my car weighs. With a driver in it, both of these cars are 6,000 pounds. Period. But I think Carlos Tavares has dug such a deep hole that I don't think they're coming out of it. I really don't think they're coming out of it. I absolutely do not believe that they're coming out of that hole anytime soon. But it is what it is. They're just going to have to... I could go in there to Target and see if I need to buy anything. But, they dug such a deep hole. Carlos Tavares should be in prison. That's where he should be. He should be in prison for what he did to CDJR. And the sad thing about it is, all they really had to do was build this car alongside the gas cars. That's all they had to do. It's just like this car, the Lyric. My Cadillac Lyric was supposed to basically replace the XT5. But they realized, they're like, wait a minute. A lot of these old people are not ready to go electric yet. Maybe they don't have a place to charge. Maybe for whatever reason, they're just not ready to go electric. So what happened? They said, no, let's keep the XT5 around. And we'll also sell the Lyric. And then we'll also bring out our other cars. So now they've got a bunch of electric cars, and they've got gas cars too. Now they're about to phase out the XT6, which I think is a mistake, because, what about the old people who need a third row because they may carry around somebody like children or parents or something? Maybe that's a mistake, maybe it's not, but I really think that they should. I think if they phase out the XT6, I think they need to bring back a gas-powered 3-row that doesn't cost what the Escalade costs, because not everybody's got $130,000 to spend on a fucking Escalade. or $100,000 to spend on Escalade. That's a pretty chunk of change. Most people really don't want to spend much more than $80,000 or $90,000. And once you start passing by $100,000, that's a bit much. Most people would like to be in an Expedition just like that, or something that's 3 rows. Even that Hyundai Ioniq 9, something $100,000. That's a luxury tax basically that you're paying. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. But yep. But now, as far as this YouTube beef, the YouTube beef is interesting to me. So you got, I'm not going to name names, you got people on YouTube, and this is what happened. Anytime there's a YouTube beef, it always goes the exact same way. You get thinly veiled threats. You get people threatening each other. Oh, yeah, you know what? Normally I'm calm, but when I feel like acting up and cutting a fool, best believe me, I can act up and cut a fool. So you got the thinly veiled threats. Then you got the people comparing wallets. Oh, yeah, well, I make $5 million on YouTube every year or something like that. Not for nothing. My advertising revenue is several $1 million on YouTube. It's like you got these people comparing wallets, thinly veiled threats, and then they start threatening to sue each other. Oh, yeah, I got lawyers and everything on payroll. And, I might launch a lawsuit or something on somebody. And so it's like, this is so fucking boring. And I'm thinking to myself, these YouTubers fighting, and I'm not going to name names, these YouTubers are fighting over this goddamn car. So my thing is, if you have this car and you want to vlog about it, that's your choice. If you want to tell everybody how much you pay per month for the car, that's your choice to tell everybody that. But if you put that information out there, chances are somebody's going to criticize it. Chances are. Like if you said you were paying $1,000 or something, $1,500 a month for a Mercedes S-Class, ain't nobody going to say nothing, because as far as they're concerned, everybody agrees with that car. But when you say you're paying $1,500 a month for one of these, it's like, yeah, so you're going to get some criticisms. Even I would never pay $1,500 a month for this car right here. It's a cool car, but there's no fucking way. First of all, going over $1,000 for a monthly payment is something you should be avoiding anyway. But even this car is less than $1,000 a month. I'll tell you right now, it's fully loaded, less than $1,000 a month. But if I did say, oh yeah, I'm paying $1,000 a month, that's my choice. But if I put that out there, I already know there's going to be people going to criticize it. Yeah, electric cars are stupid. Electric cars are boring. They're a waste of time. And I'd never spend that kind. It's like, well, listen, you do you, and I do me. How about that? I got 17,000 miles on this car. 17,145 miles on this car. And it hasn't cost me a single dime to drive this motherfucker, because I get free electricity. Free electricity. This guy's waking up right now, so I'm going to get out and talk to him and say hi to him, ask him about his car, how does he like it and everything. I'll talk about what he says a little bit later, because he might not want to be he might not agree to want to be on YouTube, so I'll just talk to him and then tell you about what he says later. But the long story short is, it's like this car, this Charger EV is causing so much enmity between YouTubers, and it's something I expected to happen, because ultimately I don't expect Dodge or Chrysler to make it. I think Jeep and Ram, they might be okay in the long run, but I don't think Dodge and Chrysler are going to make it. I think Carlos has basically put the final nails in Chrysler's coffin, and I think Dodge is next. Now, all of this could have been avoided. First of all, if it was me, I never would have canceled the Dodge Magnum. I would have had the Magnum, the 300, the Charger, the Challenger, the Ram TRX, and the Jeep Trackhawk. I wouldn't have called it that. I would call it Jeep Hellcat. But I would have had all of those fucking cars. I would have had 5 or 6 cars, all of them, sharing parts. Hellcat engine, transmission, 6.4 transmission, whatever. They would have all been sharing parts. I would have made so much fucking profit that I would have had profit coming out of my ass. But what did Carlos Tavares does? What he does, he go, oh no, we're going to cancel these cars. We're going to make them last call. And then we're going to overcharge for them. It's like, it was so stupid. It's like, they're so stupid. But as for Chrysler, that car would have gotten a Hellcat engine. And when we built these new wave of cars, there would have been a Chrysler 300 variant of these cars. And it probably would have been a 4-door. It would have been a lot larger, because, these Chargers are big cars. But it would have been a 4-door Chrysler 300. And we would have had the 2-door, and I would have just called it the Challenger and the Charger. I still would have called them the Challenger and the Charger. I wouldn't have retired the nameplate. If I had to retire the nameplate, they do have other names I could have used. But the bottom line is, I would have had the 4-door and the 2-door ready to go. Right now, if you go to Dodge, all you can buy is the 2-door. That's stupid. What about the people who need 4 doors? You see this? I live in New York City. I like having 4 doors. When somebody gets into my car, I don't want to have to put my fucking seat up. I want them to be able to just get in the back of my car. And I don't understand. Why didn't you have the gas version and the electric version ready to go at the same time? Why didn't you have the 2-door and the 4-door ready to go at the same time? I don't understand how these people get paid to be such shitty, stupid CEOs. This guy right here's got this Kia, and he's looking right now. This guy's got the Kia. And it's funny, even these Kia and Hyundai, I got a BZ4X right behind me pulling up. Kia and Hyundai are making a killing on electric cars. Kia, Hyundai, even Toyota. The BZ4X would have been a disaster. When that thing came out, they were talking about the wheels were falling off of that shit. And they paused sales on it, and then they fixed it. Now, BZ4Xs are everywhere. They're everywhere. Literally everywhere. You come to New York, they're everywhere. This guy's trying to charge on the outside. But I don't even bother jockeying for position, because they only give you an hour to charge anyway. So I don't even bother jockeying for position anyway. So what I do is I just pull into any charger, I get my miles, and then I'm out. And I don't even waste any time. In fact, I'm going to go into Target in a minute. But yeah, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. They didn't have all of those cars ready to go. This way, somebody could say, okay, yeah, I don't want the electric version, I want the gas version. Or I don't want the gas version, I want the electric version. They did this on purpose. I don't care what they say. They did this on purpose. Why? Because they want to push their electric version as the future. They claimed that they were going to come out with the gas version, and I very well believe they were going to come out with it, but that's not what they were planning to push. They wanted to basically say, yeah, this electric car is the future of the company. The Jeep Wagoneer S is the future of the company, and that's where we're going. They didn't want to push the gas car, and it turned out that might have been a fatal mistake for them. So, long story short, Carlos Tavares has dug them a deep-ass hole, and I don't think they're coming out of it. I was talking to one of these chicks the other day while I was here at the charging station, and she bought one of these BZ4Xs, and she was talking about how much she hated it and she'd rather have had a RAV4, but when they sold it to her, they convinced her to get this instead because, the pricing was lower, or they were offering a more aggressive lease on it. And her problem was she doesn't have a charger at home, and she had to come here to charge all the time. Now, as you know, I have a charger at home, but I choose to charge here because it's free. So I pay nothing. I drive 1,000 miles a month. Is that Tesla? I drive 1,000 miles a month, and I pay nothing to drive the car. What I pay is just the lease. I pay windshield fluid, and I pay whatever parts break down. Like if I have to buy tires, or if I got to buy windshield wiper fluids. And now I put windshield wiper fluid in, but now I'm starting to think, I'm like, you know what? I need to get new windshield wipers. But the thing about it is I pay nothing to drive this car 1,000 miles every single month. I pay nothing. And that's a pretty nice deal if you really think about it. But long story short, some people, they don't want to deal with the electric car, and that's fine by me. I don't have a problem with that. If you don't want to deal with an electric car, you can go buy a gas car. Buy one of these goddamn boring-ass Toyota fucking RAV4s right there. I could care less. That's fine. That's fine. You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying, economically, and I'll be perfectly honest, With my Jeep SRT, I was burning through cash with that Jeep SRT. I was basically spending $2 or $3 a mile on that car. If I had bought one of these performance, like one of them fucking stupid BMWs with the flag on the back that says M Performance or some shit, I'd be paying even more. I was like, you know what? I don't want to buy something like that. I want to buy something that, might be practical, might be economical. And I went with electric. And to tell you the truth, if I had it to do all over again, I would have done the exact same thing. Except now they got the electric Escalade and they got the electric Vistic and they got the Optic as options. I'd pick either that Vistic or that Escalade. But when I got this car, I was the first person on my block, first person in my neighborhood. People saw me in this car like, what the hell is that? They didn't even know what it was. They didn't even know the shit was a Cadillac because, they try to keep the writing to a minimum. So they don't even let you know exactly what it is. But me personally, if I had it to do all over again, I still would have gone electric. I like driving electric. I enjoy driving this car. I enjoy the luxury amenities of this car. Now, if I was Cadillac, and I said this a million times, I would have taken this exact seat type and I would have put that into the second row and I would have had heated, cooled massage seats in the back, because these seats are heated, but they're not like cooled or anything. But I would have had heated, cooled massage seats, and on top of that, I would have also put like televisions on the headrest, and that's the only that's the only two things I would have done to this car, and this car would have been a Mercedes EQS competitor easily. And that's what I would have done. But they didn't choose to do that. So, it is what it is. They didn't do that. But that's what I would have done. But I enjoy electric. At this, like, you could always tell, like, if somebody really likes something, if they would go and buy it again. The next car I buy, if I buy another car anytime soon, I'm going to buy another electric one. It might be that Escalade, it might be that Vistic. But chances are, when I take this car back in at the end of the lease, I might even extend the lease on this. Or not extend the lease. I might, refinance it or whatever and keep it. And I have the cash. I might just pay it right off. Because the reality is, I bought this car not knowing exactly what to expect. And this car has performed better than any of the other cars that I've ever owned. This car has been more practical. This car has been much, much more comfortable to drive. This car has been much, much more enjoyable. And the sad thing is, I really had high hopes for that Dodge Charger. I hoped that Dodge Charger would be what this car is, because based on the specs, the Dodge Charger EV and this car are extremely similar. I really hoped that car would be better, but it turned out not to be better. It just turned out to be a disaster because they rushed it out. They didn't work out all the software issues and charging bugs and 12-volt power issues. They didn't work it out. And there you have it. That's it. So that's my little rant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go into Target. And I've still got plenty of time for I talked on this video for about 25 minutes. I'm at 241 miles right now, so I only got another 50 miles left to charge, or 60 miles left to charge, or whatever. So it's doing its thing. So by the time I go in there and come out, it should be just about finished. Yeah, that's my rant. And that's about it. Now, as for the stock market, I'll just say really, really quickly, Trump was able to get a short stay of execution because the judgment against him basically said you don't have the constitutional powers to impose tariffs. And there were some people who were talking on my comments and making fun and, oh yeah, well, Trump got a fucking stay and he got a appeal. Hey, guess what, guys? He's going to end up having to refund that tariff money. When that happens, that is going to be the ultimate slap in the face for his entire plan. That's going to be the biggest slap he gets, because I guarantee you the Supreme Court is going to uphold the Constitution. They're going to say the same shit. Listen, buddy, you can't unilaterally impose tariffs using a fucking law from the 1970s. It's not going to happen. So when that happens, he's going to have to return that tariff money. And that's going to be a slap in the mouth. It's going to be a slap in the face, slap in the mouth. And that's when you're really going to see these, the cult members, not the objective thinkers, but the cultists. They're not going to be too happy about that. Like, I hear them already. They're talking shit on the comment sections. Oh, yeah, these judges need to stay in their lane. Excuse me, you stupid moron. This country has a 3-branch government, judicial, legislative, and executive, for a reason. It's so that one man can't do stupid shit and cause the stock market to crash, because there'll be 2 branches out to stop his ass. It's so one man doesn't do something stupid and there'll be 2 branches out to stop his ass. That's the reason we have divided government. You know what? I like divided government. I love it. I love it. The Constitution is 100% right. I think free trade makes a lot of sense too. The only problem is we don't have free trade. We've got government cronies and shit. We got crony capitalism. That's what it is. Is that an E-Class? Yes, it is. Man, that old lady is sitting back. She's chilling in that E-Class. That's a nice car. It's just a little too small. But anyway, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna go in there. So this guy next to me, he was having a problem charging. Him and his son were trying to charge. So I told him I'd hold the cord for him, so this way nobody just pulls up in there, because he was having a trouble with the communication. And this is the faster charger anyway. So I told him, yeah, I'll hold it for him. He could just pull in there. And he's pulling in there, so I'll help him get started, and then I'll go into Target. Probably go to the bathroom while I'm at it. Yeah.
So you're saying I should sign out of the app completely?
Oh.
So I should plug it in?
I think he's not finished verifying you.
Oh.
He'll tell you when to plug it in. In fact, it'll tell you. So I got my groceries and stuff. And look at this. I got Lucid. Lucid right there. Lucid. Oh, he got no accident. I could see, yeah. You could see that thing. Somebody tapped that bumper. You know, Lucid, what was it? Rivian and Tesla all have an F rating for as far as stock goes. All of them. It doesn't even matter where Tesla is. The performance has been F rated. Now, I hope Lucid and Rivian have big success. And now that people are boycotting Tesla, I hope to see, you know, Lucid and Rivian stock, you know, go up. But the problem is, right now, I don't think either one of those things are profitable so much. I hope Rivian's making profit, but on the stock market, bottom line is they're rated an F. Got this Porsche Taycan something. I never liked these cars. They're just a little too small. So I was never into Porsche. Yeah, if I was going to spend my money, it'd be on Mercedes. Definitely not a Toyota BZ4X. This is Roosevelt Field Mall. And as you can see, there's a sea of unpurchased, unspoken for Teslas here. They got everything. They got Cybertrucks. They got Model Ys. They got Model 3s. They got it all. Brand new Model Ys. You see, Elon Musk, all he had to do was keep his stupid mouth shut and just make his money. And, you know, after I hit $1 trillion, that's when you can go crazy. But this guy he went crazy before he hit the $1 trillion. So now you got to sit back. And by the way, they've got seas of these cars. This isn't the only parking lot. They've got this parking lot, and they've got 2 others, because the Tesla, the actual dealership, showroom, whatever you want to call it, the gallery, is about a mile or 2 up. It's about a mile up. There's purple Cybertruck. They got all these goddamn things, and these things are just sit. These cars are just sit. Because you know why? Because nobody wants to patronize a racist South Africaner. And that's what it came down to. And it's sad because I loved the Model Y, and I kind of liked driving the Cybertruck. And the thing about it is, like, these are like the quintessential electric vehicle. Like, when you have a Tesla, that could be like the textbook definition of an electric car. And it's sad because they could be doing so much better, but Elon Musk fucked everything up. And I understand he's got a couple $2 billion in his pocket, so he doesn't care. But what about all the men and women working for Tesla who actually enjoy their jobs? The few that there actually are. But it's just so sad. It's so sad. So Dodge done fucked up. Tesla done fucked up. Or I should say Elon Musk done fucked up. Because that Model Y is a good car. It's not terribly expensive, and it's a pretty nice car. It's like a nice Me Too car. It's like the Toyota Camry or the Honda Accord. There's no excuse for it not to be doing better, except for you got a racist South Africaner spreading far-right wing talking points. And the thing about it is, unlike America, where we have free speech and the First Amendment, yeah, it's easy to cloak racism under the First Amendment and free speech. It's really easy to do that. You can cloak racism and anti-Semitism under both. But what you can't do is go to Europe with that shit. Because in Europe, they don't play. In Europe, if you do any Nazi shit, or you got any fascist anything, they cut you down over there. They don't play that shit. See, in America, you can get away with it. You can't get away with that shit in Europe. Not at all. So all of these other car companies, GM, Toyota, Nissan, Kia, Hyundai, all of them are doing well. But Tesla's cars are sitting on the motherfucking lot. Ain't that something? See, they miscalculated that racism. They miscalculated just how bad that shit can be for business. It's like, I just went to shop at Target, and these people are trying to boycott Target because Target supposedly said that they're not going to do DEI anymore. Now, I don't care about DEI one way or another because I never benefited from it. DEI benefits white women. It didn't benefit my ass. So I could give a shit. But the thing about it is, I shop at Target only because I have to take this car to Target to charge it. If I didn't need to take this car to Target, I wouldn't be shopping at Target. I'd be shopping at Walmart. So now what ends up happening is I don't shop at Walmart as much as I used to, and I only end up shopping at Target every time I need to buy something. See, if you make your store have things that other stores don't have, and in this case an electric vehicle charger, then you're going to make business no matter what. And I think all of these stores need to understand that. Because I don't understand why these people are going boycott crazy. Because Target employs a lot of black kids. So I have no idea why the fuck you're boycotting Target. They have like over 400,000 black employees. It makes no sense to me. So I just do my own thing, and I do it quietly. I don't want nobody to know what my political leanings are until it's too late. It's like I'm like a scorpion. It's like you don't realize that I'm full of venom and I've got a stinger until I stab you right in your fucking head. And I don't let you know nothing about it. You don't know nothing about it until it's too late. That's the way I like it. Damn shame though. We should be doing so much better. China's gonna blow past America like a hurricane. They already basically have. We're about to hit $37 trillion in debt, and them Chinese over there selling them electric cars. Fucking back seats give you back rubs. They got massage seats in the back, heated, cooled seats in the minivans. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're falling behind. Falling behind. Damn shame. Looks like we've got company. We got the Hummer coming in. Freaking Hummer coming here. I have yet to see a Cadillac Escalade IQ come here to recharge. I guess most of those people just do it at home. Either because what happened was GM stopped giving out the free charging credits as an incentive to buy one of these things. Wow. That's a big goddamn truck. Big old 9,000-pound Hummer. Wow. Yeah, so I'm just topping off for the week, and then I'll be out of here. It'll only take me a little while. All right, so the story here, there's a couple of stories out here. Chinese EV makers pull away from Tesla with sales gains. So they're saying that, what is this? They're saying that Chinese electric vehicle makers posted another strong month of growth in May as Tesla sales continued to flag. Investors, however, haven't been worried about Tesla's car sales lately. Several Chinese car makers report monthly sales on the first day of a new month. For May, Li Auto delivered 40,856 vehicles, up 17% from a year ago. XPeng delivered 33,525 vehicles in May, up 230% from last year. NIO delivered 23,231 vehicles in May, up 13%. I don't see them mentioning Zeekr, because that's another one of those brands over there. But I heard Zeekr had a new vehicle out. They were doing pretty good. Combined, the trio delivered 97,612 vehicles, up almost 50% from a year ago. So far this year, the three EV makers delivered 419,462 through May, up 69% from the same time in 2024. BYD, China's largest EV maker, delivered 376,930 passenger vehicles, up 14% from a year ago, including 204,369 battery electric vehicles. What else? BED sales are up 41% this year through May. Tesla doesn't report regional sales, but Wall Street tracks data from industry providers. Its April sales from China include exports amounted to about 58,000 cars, down 6% from a year ago. What's more, retail sales to Chinese customers in the first 8 weeks of the second quarter were down about 23% from a year ago. Wall Street believes that strained trade relations between the U.S. and China have led Chinese car buyers to avoid American brands. It comes at an inopportune time for Tesla, which sold about 1.8 million cars in 2024, down a little from 2023. It isn't expected to grow sales in 2025 either. According to Wall Street estimates, that's no growth despite a healthy Chinese EV market. Okay. Investors, however, don't appear all that concerned with Tesla's recent sales results. Coming into Monday trading, Tesla stock was up almost 100% over the past 12 months. Investors believed AI-trained self-driving cars can unlock a new way of growth for Tesla. First of all, this robo-taxi nonsense this shit is basically dead on arrival. New York City is never going to allow those things out on the street. And even if they do, it'll be such a limited, small space that it's just not realistic. In fact, I also was listening to a story earlier, I think it was on Inside EVs. They were talking about the fact that New Jersey, which is our neighbor, New Jersey is basically supposedly shutting down Tesla superchargers, and it appears that New York and New Jersey may be coordinating because they don't like Elon Musk, and it seems like they may be trying to shut down Tesla superchargers and give third-party superchargers more access instead of Tesla. New York, and I've heard them say this, some of the politicians at the top, they were talking about driving Elon Musk out of New York. Now, wealthy people here like Teslas, and they buy Teslas and they drive Teslas. There are many of them who, they charge their cars at home and they swear by their Teslas. They don't get so caught up in the cult of personality that is Elon Musk. They don't get caught up in the politics. A lot of people here have Teslas for Uber and rideshare, and these people own these cars, and they drive these cars home, and they keep them home, and they charge them at home. I see a lot of them every day when I'm inside New York City. But the reality is, if Tesla's not going to switch CEOs, then they're just going to have to accept the fact that there's a public backlash against them that is slowly growing. It's not getting weaker, it's growing. Now, when they do release the upcoming Model 2 or Model Q, whatever they decide to call it, if it is truly affordable and it is a lot cheaper, it is possible that Tesla the stock is probably going to go up based on that. The only thing that bothers me is you really don't know how high that stock can go at this point now that you have an active boycott against it. But the other issue is that there's a lot of other competition out there. And what they'll do is they'll simply take a Tesla Model 2 or Q, they'll benchmark it, and then they'll have their own out on the market, especially the Chinese companies. So China, as the data is basically suggesting, in Europe and most of Asia, Chinese car companies are dominating, not Tesla. Europe, a lot of the people are boycotting Tesla, but they're not boycotting Chinese cars. Here in America, we don't get Chinese cars at all. And now the people here basically are boycotting, they're boycotting Teslas. So the options are they buy GM, Hyundai, Kia, or, Toyota has, more electric cars coming. A lot of people bought BZ4Xs, and some of them like them. So the reality is, as far as holding Tesla stock, I think I'm kind of reaching the point where I really don't want to hold the stock anymore. I think I will continue to wait and watch and see what happens with that Model Q, Model 2. I think what I'll do is I'll wait until that stock does rise. It's very possible that stock could very quickly hit $500. It's because right now it's at like $350 or $360 a share. But it's very, very possible that they could get that stock back up to $500, even if the sales are down, based on the new unveiling of the Model 2 or the Model Q. It's very, very possible. So I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to watch. And if we do get up to like $500 a share, I'm probably going to sell all. I will walk away with a very, very, very nice piece of change. And the thing about it is that'll be all she wrote, because the problem is I've reached a point where I can't be bullish on Tesla anymore, simply because Elon Musk has proven just how toxic he actually is to the brand. And there's some people who like to challenge that, but I'll say it the way I always say it. Elon Musk should have kept his fucking mouth shut. He should have sold them stupid ass cars, and he should have just kept being friends with the liberals and waving to them and saying, "Hi, how you doing?" flashing his teeth. Instead, this fucking guy decides to become Frankenstein's monster and turn on them. And when he turned on them, they're basically having a war of attrition between them. But the problem is, he thought that Trump would be the be-all, end-all, and it turns out that Trump is such a huge asshole that with this illegal, unconstitutional trade war, which Trump is probably going to end up having to be forced to give refunds on whatever tariffs he's collected. Because I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court is going to rule that he doesn't have the power that the Congress has to declare trade tariffs on unilaterally against the entire world. I absolutely do not believe he has that power. And I think the Supreme Court's going to rule against him. I really do. And I'm pretty sure that right now the market is waiting to see what's going to happen, because supposedly I think June 5th is when these things are supposed to go down. And we're supposed to get a little bit more clarification, because he had a stay on the court decision that basically said, yeah, you don't have a right to do this. It's the Congress's power. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think Elon Musk is a little disappointed. Supposedly he's leaving the White House. He had to go back to Tesla, and I think he's supposed to work like a full work week. What he needs to do is he needs to focus on improving the quality and the build quality of those cars. And that's what he really needs to be doing. But the White House is obviously not for him. And most people basically assumed that this was going to happen. And the reason why is because, first of all, Elon Musk is richer than Donald Trump. And Elon Musk is younger than Donald Trump. And Elon Musk also has a salacious background. So therefore, the focus was shifting off of Trump towards Elon Musk. And a lot of the leftist media journalists were basically saying that this was going to happen. They were saying sooner or later Trump is going to kick Elon Musk out of the White House. Or sooner or later, the attention shift from Trump to Elon Musk was going to force Trump to, basically push him aside. So I'm not surprised that this is happening. But as for these Chinese electric vehicles, I've said this 100 times. People don't see the bigger picture. This is not about electric cars. This is about the future of the digital infrastructure. This is about China going to all of these developed nations, and this is about China making partnerships to come into those nations and to build up their infrastructure. China is going to go into all of these countries that America and Europe completely neglected. America and Europe were in these countries stealing their resources and didn't give them anything. They were going to Congo for cobalt. They were going into all these countries. They were stealing their resources. They didn't give them anything. China's going to come into these countries, make partnerships with these people. You already got a lot of these Chinese women, the Christmas cakes, leftover women. They're marrying these Africans, and they're having families and stuff. China is building a foothold in Africa. China's doing the same thing in South America. They're doing the same thing in Venezuela. China is playing the long game. America is short-sighted, racist, and stupid. And we're playing like three steps, like what's 3 steps ahead? We're not even doing that. It's pathetic. We're playing chess. China's playing freaking we're not playing chess. We're playing tiddlywinks. That's what we're playing. We're playing tiddlywinks. China's playing 4D chess through time. It's just ridiculous. And they're forming these partnerships in South America. They're buying up ports. I don't know if you pay attention to the news, because I've noticed our news isn't really talking about it. They're buying up ports. Before, the last time they were talking about them, they were taking sand and they were building artificial islands. And America's trying to cry foul on that one, but there ain't nothing you can do about it. So this is about the future. It's just like with a lot of these companies, they're trying to get us to subscribe to everything. They want anything you do, they want you to subscribe to it. They want to track you. They want to know your data. They want as much of your data as they can possibly get. China's going to go into these developing nations, and they are going to set up their infrastructures, and they are going to have first dibs on. Can you imagine that they're going to have first dibs on billions of people's information? That's all these electric cars really are. These electric cars are smartphones on wheels. When they go into these other countries, they're going to build up their infrastructures and their plumbing, and they're going to basically have first dibs on all of that data. That's what this is really about. But America, we're so far behind at this point that we're not even really in the game. Now, I hear them running around shout, "Oh, China's about to attack Taiwan." No, they're not. They're not. They're absolutely not. Now, they could try to prove me wrong, but no, they're not. They absolutely are not planning to attack Taiwan. And I could tell simply because China is happy making money. They're happy with stability. The last thing they want is to upset the global economic system. Trump doesn't mind doing that with all his bullshit about tariffs, which he's not even, what do they call it? The taco trade. He's chickening out. China would never do this unless they absolutely had no choice to do it. Like if we started giving Taiwan weapons, just like we did with Ukraine, and then Taiwan started threatening China, that might prompt them to attack Taiwan. Other than that, China is so happy sitting back, making their money. They are not trying to upset anything. And that's the reason why I see Pete Hegseth and these neocons on television talk about China planning to invade Taiwan. I don't believe a word they say. Not one. The only way I believe it is if I saw China literally invade Taiwan, and that ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. They are too happy with stability. Well, look at us. We're causing instability. That's the difference. So, as far as the next story goes, the next story that I had seen, this was a lesser story. It was talking about someone asked, why do people still equate luxury cars with being rich when it's common knowledge anyone can finance or lease a luxury car? But you know what? That's not really true. People can finance old used luxury cars, and people can lease relatively inexpensive quote unquote luxury cars. But then the question is, what exactly is a luxury car? Is it a car that costs $100,000 and over? Because I'll tell you right now, most people don't have the credit, and they also don't have the cash to lease or finance those things. So the question is, what exactly is a luxury car? It used to be a luxury car was thought of as a car that was over $50,000, but that was like 20 or 30 years ago before inflation pushed prices past $100,000 for your... Because, you used to be able to get a Hummer or an Escalade. You used to be able to get those things under $70,000 back in 2007, 2006. Now, all of that shit is $130,000. And the cheapest you can get is like $2,000 a month on a lease. You also have a lot of people who have very well settled real estate. So they have a lot of extra money that they don't have to spend on real estate. And they feel like, hey, I want to have a nice car. I would also look at, there's a lot of people, who drive a lot and they like to have nice, comfortable cars. So they're willing to spend a little bit on a car. I don't see what the big deal is. It seems to me like there was somebody at Reddit, because Reddit is a shitty website. I'll be perfectly honest. And it seemed like there was somebody who must have been salty or jealous. And that's what it was. So they're complaining. It's like, oh, well, just because you have a luxury car doesn't mean you're wealthy. Because anybody could buy one of those. So it seems like there's a lot of jealousy, in my opinion, there. They're saying, what is it? People spending $80,000 to $100,000 on a truck nowadays is mind-blowing. It really is. But that's what happened because of inflation. Several people shared personal stories about coworkers or friends who drive flashy cars while living paycheck to paycheck or renting apartments. Just because a bank says they'll finance you doesn't mean it's a good idea. And here's the thing. This is what's crazy about the current market, the housing market and the car market. It occurred to me that there's a lot of people right now who missed out on buying a house prior to the pandemic starting, in 2020. And it appears to me that a lot of these people are saving a lot of cash because they want to buy a house, but they can't. So what they're doing is they're saving their cash. They're waiting for the housing market to either crash or open back up. In fact, I'll say it like this. They're sitting back praying that the housing market crashes. I have news for them. That's not going to happen. Short of there being like a nuclear war or something, or some major American tragedy or some shit, it's not going to happen. The housing market is stable simply because the Federal Reserve pushed all of us homeowners to refinance into 3% fixed mortgages. I knocked a lot of years off my mortgages, and I dropped my the interest rate down to 3%. Some people got lower than 3%, but mine, I stuck with the 3% because I felt that it was the most stable. It was the easiest to pay for. And besides, I have tenants in my other property. So I wanted to make sure that, number one, I cut time off, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that I didn't have to worry about, basically. But properties are stable, and they're so stable until the people who have these places, they're not going anywhere. We're stuck. And I'll be the first to say it. I'm stuck right where I am. And to tell you the truth, it's one of those things where you have to be, what is the word? You have to be satisfied. You have to learn how to be humble and satisfied and say, you know what? It's not the greatest place in the world, but I have a place and I'm not paying a fortune on rent. And that's basically where it is. A lot of people are exactly like that. And the people who have no place as a house to save equity, they're renting and they've got their money coming in, and a lot of it's going away to rent. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to save up in hopes of being able to buy a house, but they don't see what I see. They don't understand that the market is so inflated that a typical piece of shit house that should only be like $200,000 or less is going to cost them damn near $1 million. And I've seen a couple of properties recently being sold for close to $1 million. And it's mind blowing. And you'd be like, wait a minute, that house ain't worth no $1 million. But the problem is, if that's what the people sell it for, then that's what it's sold for. Whether the people buy it, or a business buys it, or a corporation, or a real estate investment trust, anybody who steps into one of these places now, you're paying top. You're basically at the top of the market. And the crazy thing is, the market can't really grow that much more because there's really not much more inventory. And just about everybody who's in a place is basically stuck. They're not going anywhere, not unless you offer them an ungodly sum of money for their house. Now, I live in New York City and New York, Long Island. So the thing about it is, what I'm saying may not apply to you if you're in one of these other states. Because I was looking at Sha'Carri Richardson. She just bought a house. A very nice house. She bought a house for, what is it, like $580,000. But if that house was here, that house would easily be like $3 or $4 million because you're not getting that much land, indoor pool and shit. You're not getting any of that here in New York. Not unless you live out in like the Hamptons, and those houses like $12 million. But she bought a place, I think it was in Texas, or something like that. Either it was Texas or Georgia or something. It was like $580,000. And it was a very beautiful house. And they said that she had made a good idea doing that because instead of buying at the top of her paycheck, she bought something she could actually afford, which was brilliant. And that brings me back to these people with these cars. Dodge and Chrysler, these motherfuckers had people going out and spending top $100,000 for Hellcats and Durangos and Trackhawks. And I was like, wait a minute. These cars are not worth that. They're absolutely not worth that. Not only that, if you buy one of these things, you're going to have problems with it. And when you do, you're going to take it in, you're going to get shitty service. Or you're going to get service that's not befitting a car that you spent over $100,000 for. Because I'll be damned if I'm going to spend $100,000 on a car and they're going to tell me, oh, yeah, we don't have any loaners. I don't want to hear that bullshit. But that's the service you get. Or, oh, yes, we'll get you an Uber to take you over to Enterprise so you can rent a car. It's like, wait a minute. I paid $100,000 for a car and you're talking about me having to go rent a car? And that's ultimately the problem that they have with those Charger electric vehicles. And those Dodge Hornets, for example. It's like you spend top dollar on these freaking cars and you're getting service like you bought something for like $20,000 and go away. It's like, nah, man, you're out of your mind. If I'm spending $100,000 on a car, you best believe that's a Mercedes, a BMW, or something like that. And you best believe, no, you're going to give me the service that I paid for when I spent $100,000 on this fucking car. But that's the problem. See, it's funny. I think back to Hyundai. Hyundai, when they wanted to spin off Genesis and they built that Equus, the first Equus, they had to do everything to convince you, why should you spend like $80,000 or $90,000 on a freaking Hyundai? And they sure as hell did. They said, okay, we're going to give you a manual that's an iPad. We're going to give you the entire digital manual on an iPad. So you're going to have an iPad right in the car, and we're going to give you the whole manual on an iPad. And you're like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. You're giving away an iPad as the manual for the car. Then on top of that, they had a concierge service. So if there was something wrong with your car, you could call them to your house. They would pick up your car, leave another car, a loader, in its place, and take your car in for service. Or if they needed to do oil changes or whatever, they had a full concierge service where they would literally come to you, like as if they were like Safe Light Repair. And you think about it, you're like, wow, that's pretty interesting. Hyundai is doing that with Genesis. That's amazing. And the cars weren't even $100,000, but they were trying to convince you just to spend $80,000 on an Equus. Now they've got G90s, the Genesis G90, and they're literally charging over $100,000 for that thing. So they know they can't give you shoddy service because they know first thing you'd be like, oh shit, I should go to Lexus. I'm not going to fucking Hyundai. And Hyundai said, oh, no, we're not Hyundai, we're Genesis. So if you buy from us, you're buying from Genesis. They put themselves right next to Mercedes. They put themselves right next to BMW, tongue-in-cheek, no shame in their game. And then you have to wonder, you're like, well, if I buy a Hyundai that costs this much, is that really a luxury car? But that's the whole thing. So what does it say? They're talking about who actually buys these cars. And they're saying that the average household income of a BMW 7's buyer is like $184,000. Because, you figure you're going to spend like, $1,500 a month on that thing. So that's $1,500 times 12. Maybe even $2,000 a month. $2,000 times 12. That's a lot of freaking money. I would say that the average one of these buyers of one of those luxury cars is those luxury yachts, those barges. Those things are like boats. I would imagine that that's an older man who's retired and he's got his wife next to him and they're retired. And both of them have a big income or decent sized income. That's what I would say. But, it varies depending upon who you're looking at and what community and demographics. Because I've noticed like the Asian community, they buy a lot of these cars and they spend top dollar on these cars. They buy Uruses. They buy a Fanta. Like if I see a Rolls Royce Cullinan anywhere in this neighborhood, I know it's probably an Indian store owner. And Indian Americans, they make a lot of money. They're like the wealthiest Asian American group. So the thing about it is when you're talking about, people wanting to flash their money, listen, my thing is, it's like you do what you want. You buy whatever makes you happy, buy whatever makes you comfortable. Thing about it is you best buy within your budget. Otherwise, we'll be laughing at you when they come and pick that shit up on the repo and Operation Repo comes to your house and picks that thing up. And that's the bottom line. Because you'll be on video, somebody will video you, and you will be right on YouTube, and we'll be laughing our asses off. You'll be on Facebook, you'll be on Instagram, we'll be laughing at you. TikTok, we'll be laughing. So buy whatever you can afford in your budget, but don't screw up because the internet is not a forgiving place. It's just not. So that was another story that I had seen, and other than that, what else I got here? Yeah. Other than that, the last story, like just looking at the stock market, I read a lot of stock market takes. A lot of this is garbage and bullshit. They have a lot of these AI generated stories, and you can tell that they're AI generated because you can tell that there's no experience in them. Like they just say stuff. But sometimes they have decent information. They're talking about investing for passive income and the power of dividend stocks. and they're talking about, buying into dividend paying stocks. But basically what you're doing is similar to a house. When you buy dividend stocks, it's kind of like a forced savings account. The thing is, if you put your money into the bank, you really don't get much back for it because interest rates are so ridiculously low. So when you put your money into the stock market, it is slightly riskier, absolutely. However, the dividends kind of justify it because your money is sitting there and earning money. But overall, the dividend yields pay you back way better than the annual interest rate. So, if you look at your APR, chances are most banks in an entire year, chances are you're only going to see like less than $30 return. But if you're putting your money in the stock market, you might see hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands of dollars as a return. You're not going to see that out of the bank. The problem is you have to own a lot of shares. So they were talking about dividends, and every time I look at them and they say, oh, well, where should I invest $1,000 right now? I have my own answers to that. And then they were talking about Warren Buffett's stepping away from Berkshire Hathaway, and he started selling a lot of the stuff that he was holding in his portfolio, like Apple. It was like Berkshire holds several dividend-paying stocks like Coca-Cola, which was one thing they just did a stock split. I told you should buy it. And then they're talking about these real estate investment trusts, and they're trying to get people to invest in those. So, yeah, I mean, bottom line is, if you have any stock that pays a dividend, you get more dividend for each share that you hold. So it's basically on you to buy as many shares as you can for as cheap as possible, and hopefully, if you're lucky, they'll grow. And while they grow, you get to take in a dividend. And the beautiful thing is, when you get those dividend payments every single year, if you let that money accumulate, you can take those dividends and you can buy more dividend stock. And that's what I've been doing for a long time with most of my YouTube money. I was using it to pad stock portfolios because I understood that, there was always the possibility that the YouTube money could either slow down or it could end. So it made more sense to put it into the stock market and grow it than it did to just take it and waste it. That's what a lot of people did. A lot of YouTubers they thought the car YouTubing, they thought that shit was going to last forever. I knew it was going to end a long time ago because when I saw the new products coming out, I was like, wait a minute. Most of these people can't afford this shit. And then on top of that, the interest rates are so high that they can't afford this stuff. So now you're looking, you got these Lamborghinis that are virtually impossible to afford. You see people buy them, and you see like whatever happened to all these videos taking delivery of this, taking delivery of that. What happened? I used to turn on YouTube, and there's always a video. Oh yeah, I'm taking delivery. It's like, wait, first of all, can't we just say, yeah, I'm picking up my new car? Number one, can't we just say that? And most of the times it's not their car. So that's the reason why, they're quote unquote taking delivery of, or they're videotaping somebody else taking delivery of their new car. But again, most of these new vehicles are so expensive that they can't afford them. Most of these cars now, the interest rates are so high, they can't flip them. They can't afford them. They can't flip them. So most of car YouTube is dead for the most part. The only people who can afford this stuff are extremely rich people. And they don't go around just burning up their money buying stuff. I'm still waiting to see the taking delivery vehicle video of a new Bugatti Tourbillon. I haven't seen anybody take delivery of a Tourbillon. I've seen maybe a couple of taking delivery of a new Vuelto, and I'm waiting to see a taking delivery of a Temerario. But that car's boring because it only has like a twin-turbo V8. It's like if I wanted that, I could go to fucking Infinity and buy one of those shitty, boring-ass G36s or something. But it's like this whole thing is like just collapsing. It's like everything is just falling apart. It feels like we're replacing older things with lesser interesting versions of themselves. It's a shame. It really is a shame. So as far as the stock market goes, the stock market really hasn't. We still haven't gotten back to Dow 45,000. We're still like Dow 42,000 something, simply because the market rallied when they heard that Trump was getting his tariffs thrown out by the court. But the problem is the stay of that court order caused the market to drop again because they're like, oh shit, we thought we had him, and now the fucking courts are screwing with us. So we're gonna have to wait till June 5th to really see what's happening. But as far as these dividend paying stocks go, I still recommend, as I always did, banks, oil and gas companies, and credit cards. Discover, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Goldman Sachs. I still recommend those. I can still honestly stand by those because I hold them all. So I've been slowly putting more and more money into them and just building up because I have a couple of goals before my retirement that I want to meet, savings wise and stock portfolio wise. But I still have 10 years, so, I'm not going to starve myself. I'm not going to, skip my vacations because I plan on going to Vietnam and Cambodia. And I also plan on doing, making videos and stuff of it and everything. I also plan on doing the Bora Bora trip. And, I just did the Bali and Singapore trip, and that was so emotional. That was like so physically and emotionally taxing, let me tell you. It's like, it's hard to want to vacation anymore after going on those trips, honestly, because it was so long, like the whole summer, it was so long, and it just wears on you, especially with that heat. 95 degrees every single day. That shit will get to you eventually. But that's what I'm doing. So other than that, I haven't really heard about any other movements too much in the stock market. If you do hold the Magnificent Seven, which is Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, Amazon, Google, if you do hold those stocks, my recommendation is you just continue to hold them. You don't sell. You don't let them sucker you out of the market. Don't let them scare you out of the market. You have to hold with diamond hands, because it's just like what I say about Tesla. Tesla, a lot of people panic sold. Oh, shit, it dropped down to 285. Well, look, now they're back up to like 360, 350. So my thing is I'm going to hold and hold and hold, see if I can get it back, see if they can get it back to 500. Then I'll want out. And what I'll do is I'll rotate that money into dividend-paying credit card stocks for the most part. I'll probably put a little bit more money in Goldman Sachs. But that's just where I am, because I already bought the Coca-Cola stock split, and I know that's a long-term growth stock. I know after the next 5 or 6 years, because you got to understand, with Trump in office, and it's so crazy because when I really think back to his first presidency, he wasn't this bad, but now it looks like he's just trying to instill chaos into the system, just absolute chaos. Now, the question is he doing that so he can purposefully drop the stock market and let his friends buy into it, and then later on it'll go back up and they all get rich? Or is he doing it for another reason? Because this whole thing, he has to know that this tariff shit is not going to work. He has to know that day in America is long gone. There was another story. CNN had a story talking about this is the worst job market for college grads ever. When you graduate from college, you don't expect to be working any low-end service sector jobs. Those are the jobs that are left for the underclass for the most part. Those are the jobs that are left for legal immigrants. But here's the trick, though. Legal immigrants who come here and they're having children, they don't want their children doing those jobs. They want their children going to med school, and they're focusing on sending their kids to college. They're focusing on getting their kids into top schools and to go to med school and to make a lot of money or to get into civil service. See, what used to happen is you used to have immigrants come in and they used to work low-end service sector jobs, and their children will work those jobs too. But these new immigrant groups, they're not doing those jobs. Obviously, rich kids are not doing those jobs either. Middle income and even the working poor, they're not trying to do those jobs either. So now you're running into situations where they're getting rid of all these illegal aliens, and now they're going to have to bring some of them back. Now, I totally agree with getting rid of the criminal element. I totally agree with wiping the gangs away, wiping them out, never for them to return. I totally agree with that. And I think most Americans totally agree with that too. I think the only Americans that don't agree with that are gang members, unless they're rivals. But as far as going after regular people who are just waiting in front of Home Depot looking for a job, I'm not for that. As you know, for the Mexican nannies who are just looking for a job to come over to your house and babysit your kids, possibly give your husband a foot job, I'm totally in their corner. I'm not for getting rid of them. Now, as far as like La Sombra Negra and freaking MS-13, no, get rid of all of them, and their kids. But that's not what's happening. It's like they're going after like regular people. And I think with the chaos that Trump has put forward, it's like none of this is good for the market. It's just not good for the market. It really isn't. And it's also really not good for the country either, because now you're going to have a situation where you've got all these jobs, but nobody wants to work them. Not only don't people want to work those jobs, but if I just got a college degree, I can't work that job because it's not going to pay me enough to start repaying my college loans. I have to get a job that starts to repay my college loans, you know? So I think they're creating a situation, and it's going to be difficult to solve that situation. And that's just what I see. But that's all I basically had to say. I am going to continue to wait till the end of the week so we get to see what happens on June 5th after I see what happens with the tariff and whether or not it's going to have to be repaid through refunds. That's when I'll probably make another video. But yeah, this shit is crazy right now. But my bottom line is I'm not letting it count me down. Like I don't know nothing about no recession. When I'm in recession, my money is still getting counted and it's still growing. So you know, Sir Mix-a-Lot had in his song "I Check My Bank." He said he had a very simple quote. He said, "Recession never stopped a nigga like me," and that's the simple fact. So I ain't worried about no recession. When there's a recession, you'll see me in business class on some international flight during the recession, sipping champagne on a business class flight. That's what recession looks like to me. I ain't playing that game. When you see a recession, you'll see me buying a electric Cadillacs or something like that, or whatever comes out next. I have no idea. But recession never stopped a nigga like me.
To be continued.